Hi, everyone. Welcome to In the Company of Cards. Welcome back if you've been here before. Happy Memorial Day. Uh, I just thought that it would be a good time to come on and look at some things, some of them happening sooner than others, but maybe to look also to give us sort of a 3-month overview of what's coming up in our next 3 months. I think I've done that already a couple of times. So here we are in beginning June next month or next week. And so I thought I'd look at June, July, and August in a couple of areas. Uh, so, first of all, this will happen obviously prior to the 3 months, but I want to look at what is being called the Big Beautiful Bill. Can you believe that's the official name? Anyway, so here's the thing. I predicted that it would get out of the House, that it would be passed in the House. It was passed in the House. Now we're at the Senate. And I think I talked about this in my last video, that during this Memorial Day weekend, senators were going to be going back to their home districts and getting an earful, et cetera. We also know that if they lose 4 votes, the vote's dead. The bill is dead, I mean. So 4 votes. Well, we may have 4 Republican no votes. Uh, those people would be Josh Hawley, who is from Missouri, I think. Rand Paul is from Kentucky. Ron Johnson also has expressed his opposition, and he's from Wisconsin. So that's 3. And then we have the 2 women. We have Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, and we have Susan Collins from Maine. Those two, particularly Collins, have been notoriously disappointing, we'll just say, when it comes down to the clinch. They tend to, disappoint. And apparently, Susan Collins made some statement about, she said, I'm very wary of a bill that would cut Medicaid. Well, I would hope she would be because fully 1/4 of her state or more are Medicaid recipients. But when she says things like, because she's been around for a while, so you kind of learn how people's speech patterns go, right? So when you say things like, I'm very wary of, what are you saying, Susan? It feels like equivocation, meaning I'm wary, but I'll take a chance and vote for it anyway. I mean, she's been known to do that. But let's say she didn't disappoint. Well, that would give us 5 people. That's one more than we need on the Republican side to vote no, assuming all the Democrats also vote no. So um, I'm just going to look at the bill one last time, and I'd like to know, will that bill pass the Senate? If it does not pass the Senate, it dies an ignoble death and would be quite the humiliation for you know who, which is fine with me. So what will happen with this big beautiful bill? Remember that people who are opposing it, aside from the Democrats, the Republicans who are opposing it are opposing it for different reasons. Some because they're concerned because so many of their constituents are on Medicaid. Not that they're concerned for their constituents, mind you. They're concerned for their own seats because they don't want to be primaried. The other group of people who are against the bill are ones who say it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't hurt people badly enough. But you know that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't care what their reasons are, as long as they vote no. But let's just see. So I'm going to use again the letter that will stand for the bill. And this will be my last call on the subject of this big, beautiful bill. So again, we're looking for the letter. It's deep in the deck. Okay. Whenever I say that, the card then pops up. Okay, this is standing for Trump's spending bill. Okay, I'm gonna just say kind of what I think I said last time. Sometimes I don't remember my readings from time to time, but we have the key, the cross, here's the bill, the son, and the child. So as it stands, the bill will not pass. As it stands, it will not pass. That cross is problematic. And what will have to happen is that there's the bill, we have the son, and we have the child. It's going to have to be amended and watered down. Now, we know that happens anyway, but the big, beautiful bill as it stands now will not pass. It will, even, I suspect that even with whatever massaging they do to it, I mean, if they massage it too much, it's going to have to go back again to the House before it can come to the Senate. So, time's marching on. Um, the bill as it stands will not pass. It will not pass. Uh, I put the cards in backwards, and that'd be trying to hold them would be difficult if they're all not facing the right way. Okay, so I don't think it's going to pass the Senate. I said it would pass the House. It did. I don't think it will pass the Senate. Um, I'm a little worried about Susan Collins because she is worrisome, but I think there's so many different reasons why people are against it that it won't pass. So they'll have to go back then to the drawing board, and then we'll worry about that next bill when the time comes. Okay. I thought I would look at Ukraine for a moment. So we have, you know who, uh, announced or making a little comment to the press where he said, what did he say? Putin's killing people. And he said, um, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's crazy. He says he's killing people. And then he says this thing that I hate the way he says it. He goes, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Like that's that's going to put fear in the heart of Putin. It's not. Um, you know, he doesn't care, of course, about Ukraine, you know who. Uh, but he does want a Nobel Peace Prize. And he also doesn't know how to handle Putin because Putin's got too much compromise on him, too much dirt on him. So the worst that he can do is shake his fist and say, I don't like it, whatever. That's going to have no effect on Putin. So we know that his other alternative, you know who, is something that he has thrown out there, which is to just say, well, then you know what, you all play in that sandbox. We're out. That he will just turn his back on the situation entirely, which of course would be a disaster for Ukraine. But I would like to know how Ukraine will be doing in the next 3 months. Um, and I think I will let Spirit pick all the cards. How will Ukraine be faring uh, in 3 months? So let's pretend this is June, July, August. How will it, by September, what will be up with Ukraine? What will be going on with Ukraine by September? Okay. So we're going to let Spirit pick everything. This is in 3 months. How will things be going for Ukraine? Well, we have clover, stork, scales, bouquet, and then coffin. And as you saw, I pulled some clarifiers on the coffin because I needed to know, is it a good coffin or not good coffin? And the reason is that all the other cards are very positive. This is luck. We know that Europe is doing its best to help Ukraine because it's in its own interest, obviously, to help Ukraine. So this is lucky. Stork is about positive change. The scales card, this is not a traditional card to Lenormand. I had my artist add this in. But it feels to me very much like a turning tide. We know that the reason that who was mad at Putin supposedly is that Putin did really um, aggressively attack Ukraine over the weekend. A lot of civilians were lost. But I think that there will be a shift in the balance of power. I'm actually surprised to see this, but I like it. We've got the bouquet and then we have the coffin. Now I can mirror certain cards. I can mirror, meaning look at together, the stork and the bouquet. So this feels very good to me. I can also mirror the clover with the coffin. I don't know, maybe there'll be a sudden end to hostilities. This can be endings, this can be transformations, but I still needed to know more about this coffin because, it's a coffin after all. So the clarifiers for the coffin are the dog, the anchor, and the crossroads. So, I think that the EU will continue to be supportive. I suspect that we also maybe will continue to be supportive. I like the anchor here. And this feels as though it's um, a meeting of minds, maybe, you know, like, in other words, why do I say that? Well, you want this and I want that, but we'll meet in the middle and we'll compromise. So I do think that after the summer, uh, Ukraine will still be hanging in there and maybe doing even better than hanging in there. I think there may be some better prospect for peace in the next 3 months. I hope I'm right. That's what I see. I was surprised, but that's what I see. Um, okay. Another thing I thought I'd look at is this situation with Harvard. Again, I am really proud of my alma mater. I love that they put up free courses in essentially civics and in the Constitution. So if you are hazy on what some of that stuff means, you can take a free course through Harvard. I think I think they're doing their civic duty by putting these courses online for free. Of course, it's also a little bit of trolling going on. Um, as goes Harvard, so goes the rest of higher ed. This is, of course, 47's attempt to put all of higher ed, particularly the Ivies, of course, um, on notice that he is gunning for them. We talked last time about this no foreign student thing. We know that the judge has said, yeah, you can't do that. But it's creating a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. And so I just want to know, in this battle of, I don't think it's David versus Goliath. I think it's Goliath versus Goliath, and we don't know which Goliath will win. How will Harvard, and therefore by extension, all of American higher ed fare in this battle? Um, what will the court decide, et cetera? So I think what I'm going to do is use the tower, pretend it's ivy color covered, and that will stand for Harvard because they are the the flagship institution that he has, that who has targeted, but it's all of higher ed. What will happen by September with them? Okay, so we're looking for the tower, and that will stand for Harvard, which is one of the two Goliaths in this battle, the other being who. Okay, so this will stand for Harvard. I think I'm gonna pull some clarifiers on these cards. Okay, so it's a lot of cards. We have the snake, crossroads. We have Harvard. We have the birds, and we have the child. He is really creating a problem. You know, he has said uh, foreign students will have to leave or will have to transfer to other institutions. Well, what? I mean, what? That's not how this works. Again, the lower courts have said to him, this is not how this works. You can't do this. But still, it's creating a lot of worry, concern, confusion for everyone. So that's that card. What to do, what to do, what to do, how to handle this, what kind of alternate arrangements can be made. How can Harvard weather this? They're trying to figure it all out. There's Harvard. Now, this has created a lot of talk, a lot of buzz, a lot of support for Harvard. I mean, I've given them money, and I used to think I gave them enough money with my tuition. Do I really need to give them more money? But I've given them money. I put my school ring on. I mean, they're getting a lot of support because remember, they're a symbol. They're emblematic of this anti-intellectual um, movement, this dumbing down of America effort on the part of the administration. So it's created a lot of buzz, and I think that it will serve to minimize the damage that he's trying to do. minimize the damage. There will be damage, but it won't be as much as he's not gonna, in other words, he's not gonna shut Harvard down. So if that's what he thinks he's gonna do, no, that's not gonna happen. So the damage will be minimized. Okay, so then we have the snake, and I pulled clarifiers. Clarifiers are the scythe, the bouquet, and the house. So here's the snake, but the snake gets cut, right? The snake gets cut by gifts people will give to their alma mater, to someplace that they consider their intellectual home. You know, the alumni network at Harvard is strong and powerful. And I don't think that, I mean, the government can hurt them, but not to the extent that they think. They will not bring Harvard to its knees because it will not go willingly. That's for one thing. Columbia was brought to its knees because they they chose to go to their knees. Harvard will not do that, and Harvard will be rewarded. This is a card for reward by people who consider it to some degree a home. As do I. I mean, spent 4 years there, so you know, it's my collegiate home, and we will shore them up, and they will be shored up from around the world because again, they are emblematic of something. Okay, here's you know who trying to, you know, well, this is, I mean, this is Harvard saying, you know, okay, that road is blocked, that road is blocked, that road is blocked. Can we take this road? Getting blocked, followed by the coffin, and he's doing the deed. I mean, this is him trying to block Harvard's every move. That's what he'll try to do. Okay, here we have Harvard. We have the fox, the bear, and the cross. You know, as is true for us collectively in the nation and the world, there will be pain. There already is pain uh, at the hands of the narcissist in chief. But Harvard is not, I don't know what he thinks, like why he thinks they're a pushover. You know, think of the lawyers, think of the Supreme Court justices, think of the people who are affiliated with Harvard. Think of those minds. Anything he can do, anything he can try, he'll be bested by this fox, but there will be pain. And I think Harvard is aware of that, that this is a long, maybe not intractable, but it's a long, it will be a long, hard won fight. Okay, then we have the birds, and the clarifiers for that are the book, the tree, and the rider. You know, this is people talking about things like intellectual freedom, more to the point about First Amendment rights. A lot of talk about that. And people not knowing which way this is going to land. But this is also a book, mind you. This is the seat of knowledge, which universities and colleges are and have been for a long time. And the message is that they deserve to be preserved. Then we have the child, and the clarifiers are the letter, the star, and the anchor. I do think these are good cards for Harvard. I think that the damage in the end will not be what he would like it to be, which is to bring Harvard to its knees. I don't think it'll be like that. Um, these are, this is the rules, the law, what the Supreme Court in the end will decide about First Amendment. which is freedom of speech. Uh, and in the future, Harvard is not going anywhere. But I can mirror this card with the first card. Don't love that. It's the snake. So he will continue to try to be a thorn in the side of higher ed, particularly Harvard. I mean, he's probably mad because he and none of his kids got in. So, he's got like a special bee in his bonnet about Harvard. So he will continue his assault, but I think in the end, we've got the stork, which is positive change. I'm going to take this to be alma mater. You know how you say, oh, my alma mater is, well, it's the Latin. Alma means spirit and mater is mother. So it's like your spiritual home. Spiritual home would be any school you went to that you graduated from. That's your alma mater. And, um, it's where your mind was opened up, where you were nurtured and supported and expanded so that you could go out into the world and do your work. These are young people. So I think in the end, Harvard will be teaching um, the country a lesson on civics, a lesson on patriotism, a lesson on the importance of the Constitution, in ways that, you couldn't have learned in a classroom, just by their example that you do not agree in advance. You don't do that. Um, you don't, you don't put your head on a block and say, please chop it off. Mm-mm, no. So I am optimistic, cautiously optimistic. I think that this next academic year will be difficult, maybe even ugly, because people may well say, I got in and I was going to come, but now I'm scared to come because what if I get kicked out or arrested? Or there may be people who postpone their plans. This will cause the school to take a financial hit. But again, Harvard and the people who love her have deep pockets. And her cause is a righteous cause. And so I don't think he's going to win this fight. Um, but it will be a fight, and he won't give up easily or at all. You know what I mean? Like he'll nitpick, right? If he can't get them all in one fell swoop, he'll nitpick at Harvard, making things difficult. Uh, but I think they will weather this storm. Okay. Uh, Another thing, finally, I think that I would look at is 47's health trajectory in the next 3 months. I saw a recent photograph of him that very clearly showed his ears. Uh, as I mentioned in a previous video, that whole ear thing was staged. Uh, that said, I think there will, and I'm not the only one who thinks this, there will be more attempts. Some we might not hear about, but I think there will be more attempts on his life. He does not look well. He's still rambling. His speeches. If you heard that West Point speech, you must ask yourself, what are you talking about? But anyway, he's not a well man, but he's also, the expression, only the good die young. I don't know if it's 100% true, but in this case, I mean, something is propping him up. Uh, Entertainment purposes only and allegedly. To me, it's nothing but evil. But anyway, let's look at his health for the next 3 months. And I will use the tree because that's the card for health. And we're looking at 47's health from now until the end of the summer. Ooh, you know how I always say, ooh, because I'm surprised when I always check the bottom of the deck to see if the card I'm looking for is there. 9 times out of 10, it's not there. But of course, we have that 1 out of 10 times because there it is. That means that I will be pulling this card, and instead of sort of asking Spirit to give me the other cards, the other 4 cards will necessarily be the cards that precede this card. Okay, so this was the last card. And what does that mean? That means it will be the last card. And that means that the others will be the ones that come right before. Okay. May pull clarifiers in a minute. We have clouds. We have the young man. We have this young woman in the center, which is interesting. We have the heart, and then the tree is at the end. I definitely think I want to pull some cards, some clarifiers. But I will say this. He is more and more not with the program. And I can mirror this cloudiness card. Cloudiness, like confused all over the place, disorganized in his thinking and his speaking. Uh, and I can mirror it with the last card, which is the health card. So more than anything, what we will see deteriorate is less his physical self and more his mental self. He could very well become more bellicose in his speech, like getting on the screen and saying, Putin's crazy. He's crazy. I mean, who does that? What president would do that? But this is an energy that is aggressive. Now, what's so interesting is this card in the middle. And I don't know, I mean, what pops into my head when I saw the card was Laura Loomer. Uh, and it's followed also by the heart. She is very fawning in her attentions. He listens to her. Maybe she is keeping him feeling young, if you know what I mean. Very interesting that that young woman card would be in the middle there. Oh, let's pull some clarifiers. We know that he is mentally not all there. Again, entertainment purposes only. We know that his language is angry and hostile. Whoa, wait till you see this. Mm, mm. Okay, so clouds, this is that cloudy thinking. He's all over the place, right? Crossroads says that too. He'll start down one path, like start talking about one topic. Next thing you know, we're talking about sharks in the water, trophy wives. He's just all over the place. And then we have stork and birds. Now, stork is the card for positive change, and birds are, uh, okay, hold on. I can mirror, remember? So I can mirror this card with this card. This is the first card of the line. This is the last card in the line. of clarifiers, more and more people will be talking more and more about the fact that he seems non-compos mentis, as though his mental faculties are not all there. There will be, and there has been, a lot of talk about this. 25th Amendment is not out of the question. And then I feel like this is not just that his thoughts are meandering all over the place, but more than that, that people who are doing this talking about how mentally cloudy he is will be looking at their options for how to ameliorate this situation. The only way to ameliorate it is to replace him. So that talk will be louder and louder and more serious as time goes on, as these 3 months go on. Because remember, we're looking from beginning of June to the end of August. Okay, here he is, just swinging that mushroom, being, again, bellicose and hostile and tweeting at all hours, using capital letters where they don't need to be, misspelling stuff. He's just all over the place. He is scared. He's scared. He's scared of his own mental deterioration. He's scared of Putin and whatever compromat he has on him. He's scared of his budget not passing and being embarrassed by that. He's scared of his base turning on him once they realize that we are the ones paying the tariffs. He's scared. And he feels sort of isolated and alone. So this is his mental state. And again, like I always say, if you corner a rat, this is how they will act. They will be afraid, feel isolated, and then bare their fangs even more, be even more assertive and aggressive. That's when they're at their most dangerous, when they're cornered. And he feels cornered. Justifiably, by the way. Okay. I mean, entertainment purposes only, I do think this is Laura Loomer, who makes him feel like he's a man. Uh, the other clarifiers are the house and the letter. I don't know. I mean, I think she tells him what to do in his capacity as commander in chief. Fire this person, hire that person. She does that. And then these are all written, instructions that get passed on. I think she's really more powerful than people realize. And he's susceptible to flattery. So here's the heart. Clarifiers are the bear, the anchor, and the dog. There will still be sycophants around him telling him what he wants to hear, because his ego is just so large and yet so fragile. So, there will be people who hang around, and he will tell himself that these are his friends, but they're not. They are opportunistic, they are transactional people, but he thinks they're his friends. Like, I don't know, Marco, and entertainment purposes only. But this is the line that freaked me out. Remember, we were looking at health. And as always with him, the focus tends to be on his mental health, because that's really the most obvious sign that he is unwell. This was the card for health, right? And I had to put it last because that's where it came. And I pulled 3 clarifiers. I mean, I'm stalling because I can't believe what I'm seeing when I looked at the clarifiers. You ready? Now we're talking from now until the beginning of September, the end of August. Look, the scythe, the cross, the coffin. These are not good, especially right under the tree. They clarify the tree. This is the card for health. His health gets cut down. He is in some sort of distress. And then we have this coffin. Sometimes a coffin is a coffin. And this time I can mirror the coffin with the very first card in the line. Now, these cards could stand for another attempt, which absolutely could happen this summer. I've heard there's going to be three, but who knows? Definitely, I think at least one, and it will be legitimate, like a legitimate attack, as opposed to the ear thing, which was staged. Um, but that doesn't look good for him, and I can't. Uh, it's hard to tell whether we're talking about violence or illness with those cards, but Scythe and the Cross, these are two really painful cards. And this being the end card. So, as they say, watch this space. I think this will be a dangerous time for him for so many reasons, right? The world is a scary place. He's made of the world. He's made it a scarier place. We have fewer allies, so there's all that going on with bad actors out there. Um, but beyond that, as people start to realize how his policies are adversely affecting them, every way you can possibly imagine, there will be this groundswell. And that can take any kind of shape. I don't know. Another thing I'd like to look at is, and I've done this before, but I think it's worth looking at again. I keep talking about a revolution, and revolution can take a lot of different forms. I always think of the French Revolution, and I'm not saying that this will be a pitched, armed battle, but I do think that there will be forces arrayed against him, and I think that some of the bedfellows who are part of this arrayed forces against him will be surprising. People who ally with each other. Uh, and I'd like to look at big business, corporations, the stock market. Will they turn on him as well? Let's let Spirit pick all the cards. Okay, so we have the tree, the young man, the mountain, the letter, and you know who. So what's interesting again is that I can mirror this health card with him. There will be issues. He will have health issues, mental, physical, all kinds, I think, by the time the summer's over. I think that this will be big business, feeling like they can take an upper hand approach with him. And I think he will be blocked. He will feel blocked because you can only say, but for so long, everything's going to be fine. China's going to be the one paying the tariffs. Obviously, that's not true. Obviously, part of what's going to be hurt is big business. So I think that when the metaphorical storming of the Bastille comes, if you look to your right, you may see, oh, look at that. There's a Trump supporter or a former Trump supporter on one side of me and a Walmart executive on the other side of me. We were all storming the Bastille. I think the walls are going to really close in on him by summer, by the end of summer. Uh, we'll see. So anyway, if you want to learn how to read the cards, I'll remind you, my book is The Language of Lenormand, now available in French through Amazon.fr. Uh, and I think I'm gonna, uh, when we have our first year anniversary of this channel, which will be August 1st, I am gonna make an announcement about something new that I'm going to um, start, which will be a limited in terms of numbers, opportunity to work with me for 3 months. And we will be using the language of Lenormand as the text. So that will be the prerequisite for this thing I'm going to do. It won't be on YouTube. It won't be on Facebook either. It'll be through my website. But I think I'm going to open up some opportunities for a practicum and for people to learn in a deep way how to read Lenormand along with me. So be looking for that. Also, check to see that you're still subscribed because I have actually had since I made the last announcement, I've had people say, I did check and I was unsubscribed. And so I had to resubscribe. I don't know what the algorithmic reasoning behind what YouTube is doing is, but I'm not the only creator to experience this. So just make sure that that you hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. That's how the channel grows. That's how I'm able to do this work. Please do like, share, pass the word. And if you are thinking that you'd like to learn Lenormand with not just my book, I do have a course also. If you click the link under the video, you can find that too. That's an evergreen course. So it's recorded lessons that you can watch at your own pace. They're video lessons. But I know that people have also said they wanted a more um, sort of hands-on approach, a practicum, so to speak. And so I'm thinking about putting that together. Again, it'll be through my website as opposed to here on YouTube. Anyway, have a beautiful rest of your holiday weekend if you um, had a day off today. And I hope you remembered those who died in service of the nation. And I will see you very soon. Take care.